wanting to help people and going into this business is definitely out of passion, and it's not as easy as you may think it is initially, even though you may have success. So I'd say, hey, get a business slash other career coach to bounce ideas off of to see what's working, what's not working. Make sure you're listening to your prospect and try to identify your own value and core offer, right? What makes you a little bit different? And you can look into your own unique experiences. That's going to speak to someone else that's following a similar footing and path to want to do business with you instead of the next guy.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to 7 and 8 figures without burning out. Before Purple Circle, I started and scaled several 7 and 8 figure career coaching businesses myself and consulted with 2 career coaching businesses that are now doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or just building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hey everyone, welcome to Career Coaching Secrets podcast. Today my guest is Brian Kwa, an ex-Google recruiter and founder of MPH Tech Academy, where he helps job seekers land tech roles faster through AI and mentorship. From a non-technical background to working at top companies like Google, YouTube, and Uber, Brian now shares his knowledge to help others break into tech, grow their careers, and build meaningful connections. So I'm so excited to dive into his journey and insights. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Super excited to be here.
Tell me a little bit more about what inspired you to become a career coach.
Yeah, so I'd say I have to start a little bit about my background. I'm a first-gen Asian American, grew up in a low-income household and didn't really have too many mentors. And, it wasn't until I'd say I graduated college and realized that the major that I was in, microbiome, wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I started trying 4, 5, 10 different odd jobs, kind of like anxious to find the next thing. But it wasn't until a mentor said, hey, what do you want to do and where do you want to go from here? That I found that breaking into tech sales was what I wanted to do. And after going through like a mentorship program that got me into there, that's when I realized that, mentorship can change people's lives. And that's what inspired me after getting into big companies like Uber, YouTube, and Google. I never thought that was possible for myself and realized this is what I want to do for other people, to help other people achieve the same success that I saw, right? That it is possible to potentially break in with no technical background. So yeah, that inspired me.
Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit more about your journey from when you started on becoming a career coach to where you are at today.
Yeah, I'd say once I got some experience as a technical recruiter for Google, a lot of people started messaging me. A lot of my friends, strangers were asking me, how did you do it? How did you get in? Was there any secret? Things like that. And I would dedicate a lot of my time after work or even on weekends to coaching people, like for free, mentoring people and just giving advice. And lo and behold, after, a couple weeks or a month of giving that advice, people would actually land the roles for other companies as well, not only Google. And that inspired me because I kept doing that every other weekend or so and was always generous with my time. And I started thinking, I think I like mentoring other people. I like helping and teaching. So yeah, that's how I got into this.
And is there a specific group or industry that you like working with mostly? I think it's tech industry, but is there a specific, can it be more specific than that?
Yeah, so this framework and academy that I've built literally works for any industry. However, I'd say the people I love working with are, entry level, mid-level people that are just trying to find their careers and have a similar background as me because I was a microbiome undergrad that went into sales, went into business for themselves, and then was trying to find myself. But it wasn't until I broke into tech sales and tech recruiting that I fell in love with the whole thing. So if you were to ask me, I would love to help out specifically those people that want to get into tech sales or recruiting specifically, and even social media marketing, which I do on the day-to-day.
And since you mentioned social media and marketing, where do you connect with your typical ideal client persona or your future client, your potential clients? Is there a marketing channel that works best for you?
I'd say LinkedIn. I'm heavily biased towards LinkedIn. I got 90% of my clients on LinkedIn. However, I think it's important to be omnipresent. I know that that could overwhelm some coaches to know that you have to be on all channels, but it really does play in your favor when you post content into multiple channels, because when I get on calls with potential clients that want to do business with me, they say this: I've been following you for 2 months on LinkedIn and on IG for about a year. And I love the content that you're posting, and I think I'm ready. So sometimes people pause and stop me right there for my presentation and say, I just want to work with you. Can you show me the pricing? And they would just sign up from there, just from absorbing all the content. And I realized that being omnipresent is important, but there is a decision-making process developed by Google. They did some research on this. The rule 7-11-4, which is you need 7 hours of consumption on content, 11 touch points on 4 platforms to get a interested buyer. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. That's a very cool fact. When you said 7 touch points, that kind of clicked a little bit more. But this is more than just that. In 4 different channels, 11 touch points. So it does make perfect sense. Nobody's gonna buy to you in the first moment they get to know you.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. We're kind of skeptical until we absorb more and more content and see the value. Then we start off like the first rung of the ladder, then the second, then the third. That's how it works.
Yeah, and you also get to trust someone more by consuming their content over time, and you feel this is not a person just like going after quick money, and it's just like a new business that's gonna be out tomorrow. So kind of start to get to know the brand and trust it more over time. I also wanted to ask you, when it comes to LinkedIn, and I know you said you have an omnipresent, and it's not just LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is what you are mostly focused on. But what is the strategy that you're using in LinkedIn? Can you dive a little bit deeper into that? What works? Because there's multiple strategies you can try on LinkedIn, and I'm wondering like what works best for you. And you'll see that in the other podcast episodes, we'll dive into strategies that worked for other coaches. In this case, is what worked for you is the question mostly.
So what I did is post organic content every single day. You want to kind of follow like a framework if you can and see what the maybe top influencers in your space are doing and model that kind of posting. But you really want to just give a ton of value in your posts, right? So that's consistent right there. Then people naturally start liking, commenting, and connecting with you. And I treat every connection, every comment, every like, and try to build a connection throughout those people, because they didn't have to like or comment or connect with you, but they chose to because they resonated with your posts. So that's a potential lead. Now it's your job to follow up with that lead and start conversations. See how you can help in any way, and make sure your profile is branded properly, primed properly, and optimized so that people know in the first 5 to 10 seconds, kind of like a resume, right? When a recruiter looks at your resume, exactly who you are, what you do, how you help people. And yeah, they can make like a buying or hiring decision from there. But that's how I got my first few clients, just by starting conversations and seeing if they would see value in what I do over here with a free consultation call or resume review.
Hmm. I really like that, especially the part where you said you went to see what others that were maybe had a bigger audience or were like in the industry longer. You could take that as a model and see what their framework of posting is and try to utilize that and give value with that framework. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time, but yeah, you can definitely learn from what seems to be an expert in either your niche or in just like career coaching. Cool. In the future, what are the goals that you are working, let's say for the next 1 to 3 years?
Yeah, so I really want to build a tight knit community of people that know this framework, see the success, and want to share it with more people so that this community is growing by itself. My vision is really just to create like a domino effect of the mentorship that I received, and for them to kind of pay it forward when I teach them the same process and like how to build genuine connections and actually land opportunities, whether it's in business or in your next job that you're trying to land, right? It's all about the connections. It's all about the energy and the value that you bring to the table. And I really hope that in the next 1, 2, 3, 5 years, that we can have a tight knit group of members that are really advocates for NPH as well as this business model or this way of life, so to speak.
I really like that. It's kind of similar to also the community that we're trying to build. So thanks for sharing that, especially. And is there something that has helped you? What resource or support has been most valuable in you growing your own career coaching business so far?
Yeah, I mean, just like how I'm gonna be a career coach for other people, every coach needs a coach. Even athletes like Steph Curry need a coach. So when you think about that, performing at the highest level and you still need a coach, that means that everyone should have a coach. And that's what I think too, that the reason why I went into this business is realizing not everyone has the resources per se. But if we can make it more affordable or if we show the importance of that, lives can change. So to answer your question with my long-winded answer, a business coach came to me and realized like, hey, maybe the way I was doing my business wasn't as optimal, right? I was selling a lot of low ticket resume review, LinkedIn, and these little piecemeals. But he said, why don't we extend that into a larger high value offer? And then I was kind of skeptical of charging thousands for my job seeker because I didn't think they would have the money for it. But lo and behold, I tried a framework and the process, and I got my first $1,000 client, became 2,000, became 3,000, and so on and so forth. So really just getting over yourself and getting a coach for yourself to get over yourself is really key in business and in life.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, having a coach could definitely shed light into those unknown unknowns. So things that they might have gone through before you, but you might be skeptical. So just like can push you towards those things that you wouldn't have known unless you tried, but other people have. So you can always learn from other coaches. Also wanted to ask is there something that throughout your journey growing MPH is something that you wish you had known from the start when you started scaling your coaching business? What is something that you have learned along the way that was like an unexpected lesson learned?
Yeah, I mean, one, just going back to the coaching, I wish I was more open-minded to coaching in the first place. I'd say getting a coach early on would definitely be key because I thought I could, run this business smoothly myself, but you can't see your blind spots. And really the unexpected lesson was listening more than I spoke and listening to my customers or potential customers' pain points instead of assuming what I thought they need, listening and just really hearing them out and realizing that they don't need just that resume. They need something more holistic approach towards the job search. So something that was more of like a program and a transformation versus like a one piece meal. That's what I learned. And I think for the longest time too, I was thinking a course was going to solve all their problems, but no one really even cared about the course really. They thought it was a bonus, that it was nice that I had one laid out, but really they just want a mentorship from someone that's already been there. And I was that person for them. So
Yeah, I totally agree, especially the part about having a coach, especially. And what are some of the biggest challenges you faced in scaling your coaching business or that you're currently still facing?
I think one of the biggest challenges constantly for almost any coach or even business is generating qualified leads and knowing how to close at a high rate, right? That's always, I see like the problem for career coaches like myself and other business owners, right? For any industry that's service based or appointment based. So learning how to do that and tightening up your funnel and metrics is really key. And it's a lot of sales and lead gen, which is marketing. And so some people don't want to do that, so they hire an agency and spend money on that. But I'd say those are the biggest things that you have to overcome and figure out.
Do you currently still face these issues with lead generation?
So I've been trying to figure out for the past 2 years, and I realized Alex Hormozy's book, I'm not sure if you know him, but it's a really good book called $100 Million Leads. That's the one to generate the leads. He breaks down everything into very actionable advice, but I think it's referrals, it's organic outreach, as well as paid advertisement. So I'm implementing both the organic and the paid ads now, and we have a constant supply of leads coming in with our lead magnet. So that's been working really well. But I think from there on out, it's how am I qualifying to make sure that that person is ready to buy on the spot, right? So fine tuning that piece is where we're at, just to scale. And it really boils down to how good your systems and selling is, right? When you're trying to reach that 10 to 50K mark per month.
Yeah, Alex Honnold could be a great resource when it comes to lead generation because he dives into like different channels. So it could be cold emailing, could be LinkedIn, could be any of the platforms really, and not just cold, but also warm leads that are within your network already. So for anyone's getting started or is at a certain level that wants to get to that job replacement income, at least these strategies can work very well. And I think he also has a book about that's called $100 million offer for anyone who wants to work on their offer as well. And I think just guessing, but the next book could be $100 million sales could be where that's directed to, even though it's not official yet. Yeah, so I also wanted to
Yep.
ask you a question that I feel most coaches that have had some growth over time feel right now and might be resonated with you is how do you handle the balance between giving great results to your clients and handling business operations and business growth on the other side?
Yeah, that's the tough part, right? When you're trying to figure it all out on your own, it's kind of tough. But when you have someone on the outside, maybe like a coach or even a small team that you think could be a good fit, it's really wise to start delegating some tasks that you know can be delegated either to AI or to a VA or even a close colleague that is willing to help you and their work is similar to yours, like that quality is right there. So as, speaking for myself in my business, I delegate a lot of the mentorship to other members that I thought were a good fit and that worked well. And while I still close the deals because I felt like they weren't as experienced in closing deals. So I kept that as my responsibility. And that was a really good synergy for us to work together.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough situation, and I really like that what you said about delegating. You can also think about delegating to other coaches as well. Like you can delegate everything. You can delegate the coaching if you can systematize it in a process that is consistently giving results to the clients. Yeah, and I also wanted to dive into another question. You can think about it in a figurative way. What aspects of running your coaching business quotation keep you up at night?
Yeah, I mean, business is never guaranteed. You really have to figure out your top of funnel and keep those activities very consistent, right? Not posting for one day turn to a week, potentially. You're going to have a gap later down, right? And everything is kind of like a lagging indicator,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you won't get the sale that first post, but you may get someone that's been following you for 2 months, like I mentioned before, that one post made the difference to hop on a call. And this might be potentially their second call, but they want to move forward with your package. So making sure you're doing all the activities and controlling what you can. And that's what I learned in tech sales as well. Don't focus on the sale, focus on the activities leading up to it and whatever activities you can control, which is the KPIs, making the content. You can control that. You can't control who likes it, but you can improve on it. And then making the conversation, starting the conversations, right? And getting those appointments booked, right? If you do those first 2 to 3 things, the rest will follow and you can improve on how well you're selling in those calls later.
Yeah, I really like that, especially the part where you said focus on like the top of the funnel, make sure that that is consistently being handled and you're very disciplined about it. The rest of it, as long as they're on your pipeline, will be taking care of itself in a way. But if you don't have anything on the top, then you cannot expect to optimize anything on the bottom. So yeah. Is there any advice, and we're getting to a closing question now, is there any advice you'd like to give to other career coaches that are watching this, that are looking to scale their impact?
Yeah, I'd say wanting to help people and going into this business is definitely out of passion and it's not as easy as you may think it is initially, even though you may have success. So I'd say, hey, get a business slash other career coach to bounce ideas off of to see what's working, what's not working. Make sure you're listening to your prospect and try to identify your own value and core offer, right? What makes you a little bit different? And you can look into your own unique experiences. That's going to speak to someone else that's following a similar footing and path to want to do business with you instead of the next guy or gal, right? So finding your voice, creating a unique value prop by you, or even a unique program, and then just sticking to that with all the activities that we just mentioned, and just opening up your mind to what's possible with maybe another mentor coaching you on that.
Thank you so much, Brian. It was a lovely episode, and I think a lot of people are going to find these advices very useful from the start of the episode till this last final advice. For anyone who wants to connect with you, they can find you on LinkedIn at Brian Kwa. And if they want to learn more about MPH Tech Academy, that's mphtechacademy.com. So you can look at either, you see there's a very professional way that Brian has designed the website, so you can learn more about that, making it look professional from the top. I really like the design of the website, to be honest. So yeah, great job with that. Thank you again, Brian, for coming to the show today.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. And for anyone that is seeking for a job or, wants to chat, feel free to download the ebook and book a call with me on the next page. I love designing funnels and helping out in any way I can, whether you're a job seeker or a career coach. So just grateful for this opportunity again. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This conversation was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to 7 and 8 figures without burning out. To learn more about Purple Circle, our community, and how we can help you grow your business, visit joinpurplecircle.com.